Welcome back, everyone. I'm the Badluck Gamer, and we're back with another Pathfinder Bites, where I try to describe to you one of the classes in under 10 minutes. So let's go ahead and get started. Today we're talking about the Gunslinger, and so we must ask, what is a Gunslinger? Well, the Gunslinger is the premier ranged class. All their features and abilities are focused on using firearms and crossbows specifically, not necessarily bows. If you want to use a bow, you're better off playing a fighter or a ranger who's using the archer dedication. In any regard, the Gunslinger is chock full of all kinds of great abilities and features that make using weapons, especially those that require to be reloaded, extra efficient and extra powerful. So, what makes a gunslinger? Well, a gunslinger has a unique feature called singular expertise, which gives them a higher proficiency when using crossbows and firearms, similar to how fighters get proficiency with a singular weapon. Now, unlike the fighter, though, the gunslinger never gets more than master with all other weapon groups. Though with a feat, they can get to up to advanced legendary weapons that are crossbow and firearm as well, making them the only class currently that can get expertise in a advanced weapon group, which is very, very good. Along with this expertise, they also get a +1 circumstance bonus damage when using their preferred weapons, meaning that even a fighter who might be similarly proficient with crossbows or the like will still not do as much damage, but by a very small amount. Nothing that I would say really makes the difference, but it is a welcome change, especially considering firearms are very much focused on crit specialization and critting enemies efficiently, which we'll get to here in a moment. Along with their expertise, or their singular expertise rather, they have their ways. Their ways are more or less the type of gunfighting you want to do, and it's very important that you focus on the ways when you determine your personal playstyle, as one of the biggest feature in each way is their Slinger's Reload, which allows them to combine another action with their reload action. This makes them very efficient at using loaded weapons, making them essentially as good as a bow user when it comes to using a weapon, though not quite the same rate of fire. They still get just as much action out of their rounds because of it. Now, real quick, I'm just going to go over each of the ways and their reloading style, though I do recommend that if you're interested in a way, you go in and look over their various deeds, which are extra abilities they get for being a part of that way that can fundamentally change your playstyle. But I feel like the reload is the strongest feature each one has when it comes to determining whether you're going to like a particular way or not. The way of the Drifter gets Reloading Strike, which allows them to reload a one-handed weapon while striking with a weapon in their other hand. It has the additional benefit of not needing a free hand to reload your other weapon, which is very powerful and essentially gives it an additional feat's worth abilities. This is really good if you're planning on using a hand crossbow or a pistol along with a weapon and being in close to mid-range combat. The way the Pistolero gives you the Recontours reload, which allows you to essentially, while you're reloading your weapon, to either make a demoralize or create a diversion. This is the preferred style if you, one, enjoy the Pistolero style of using two weapons or two pistols, but also it's really good for aiding your allies. Intimidation is really good for nerfing enemies' abilities with the frightened condition, and create a diversion is really good for allies who are constantly using sneak or hide actions. Overall, this is a bit more the supporty styles of the ways. Way of the Sniper gives you covered reload, which is probably one of my favorites. It allows you to, while you're reloading, to either take cover or hide. If you are concealed by either some kind of smoke, dim light, or darkness, this allows you to essentially get into cover to gain a benefit, making enemies flat-footed, or just to get a bonus against other range attacks. Overall, it's really good, and we have a specific tip for it later, so if you're interested in the Way of the Sniper, stay tuned. Way of the Spell Shot has the Thoughtful Reload, which allows you to recall knowledge as a part of your reload action. A very good action and great if you have a character who has good intelligence or is just very proficient with various lower skills. This allows you to identify enemies easily while reloading your weapon, giving your team pretty much a big advantage knowing what's either coming up or even how to best hurt your enemies. Overall, the Way of the Spell Shot has a really good one if you are good at identifying enemies. Way of the Trigger Brand probably has one of the coolest ones. It's called Touch and Go. As a part of a reload action, you can take a combi weapon or combination weapon that you have and transform it from one side to the other. So you can reload your gun sword and then get ready to strike an enemy by turning it to sword mode. Or after you're done striking an enemy, you can then reload your gun and turn it into an actual gun to fire. It's a really good one, and it allows you to very quickly move between your melee and ranged options, giving you a really solid choice in most situations, allowing your next action to be a strike in however way you want to go about it. The Way of the Trigger Brand is really good if you really like moving in between close and medium ranged combat. The last one is Way of the Vanguard, which has cleared the way. It's a really big one, but more or less what it says is as a part of reloading, you can shove with your weapon. And the best part is the shove comes before the reload action. So if the enemy does not have a reach weapon and has attack of opportunity, you can actually shove them away and then reload your weapon. You do not need to have a hand free for this shove action, which is really good. And if your last action was to fire with the weapon, you can use the same multi-attack penalty for the shove that your prior strike was made. So if you made your first shot of the round and then use this reload, you shove with no additional penalty. And if it's the second shot that you made prior, this shove is made with just your -5 because of multi-attack penalty. Overall, it's really good if you plan on consistently being in the midst of combat with ranged weapons. And that actually leads me to one of my first tips when it comes to using a gunslinger. The guns in this game, unless they have the volley trait, take no penalties to firing at enemies in close range. The only things you need to be careful about is if the enemy has attack of opportunity. Now, this is something that is not very common in the game, so most of the times you can feel free to use your ranged weapons up close in martial combat. But you do need to be careful of more soldier or martial type enemies as they are more likely to have attack of opportunity. My next tip is identifying your type of ranged weapon you want to use. There's a lot of feats in the Gunslinger that lean either towards firearms specifically or crossbows specifically. And even though you can retrain and swap between whatever styles fit you best, it's good to have an idea of what kind of weapons you would like to use. The Gunslinger is very proficient with firearms, and due to their increased proficiency, have a higher chance to crit, and all firearms have the deadly trait, which increases their damage die on a critical and adds additional damage dice on top of the critical damage, which is very potent and makes the Gunslinger essentially a crit fishing class. And actually, that leads to my next tip as well. If you're playing a Gunslinger, you want to get as many opportunities to make an enemy either frightened, flat-footed, or any other condition like clumsy that can reduce their AC. The more chance you're likely to crit, the more damage you're going to do, and due to how firearms work predominantly, much more damage you're going to do. Especially because most firearms tend to do a bit less damage than other ranged weapons in exchange for the massive effects they get when they critical an enemy. So, you need to utilize your teammates, work as a team to get as much bonuses to your attack or penalties on the enemy to crit as much as possible. And one last tip for those who enjoy Way of the Sniper, one of my favorite feats from the Gunslinger is running reload. Even though you already have a reload action available to you, it allows the Way of the Sniper to very easily use a weapon that has a 2 reload, which tends to do a lot more damage. Like the heavy crossbow, you can then fire it at the beginning of your turn, then you can hide, and then you can stealth as a part of running reload, allowing you to remain mobile, become up to undetected by an enemy, and allow you for your next round to do another huge shot. A really good way if you're focusing on the more crit fishing style of gameplay. And running reload is also good if you have any intention on playing any 2 reload weapons, though I do need to specify running reload does not allow you to instantly reload a 2 reload weapon. 2 reload weapons require 2 interact actions to reload. But running reload does allow you to substitute one of those actions with the running reload as long as it's permitted by the GM, though most GMs allow you to essentially split your actions if necessary for reloading. So I hope this all helped, and I hope you all enjoy the Gunslinger. It's a very, very fun class and one of the more interesting ones I think that Pathfinder 2 has come out with. But that's going to be it for me. Thank you all so much for watching, and if you could do me a favor, please sub to the channel to see more videos like this. Anyway, good luck with your games, leave the bad luck to me, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye.